Hidden deep within the dense jungles of Central America, from Mexico to Guatemala and Honduras, a once glorious civilization left behind indelible marks on humanity, the Maya. From around 2000 BCE until the 16th century, the Maya built cities of stepped pyramids, stone plazas, and towering temples, all cloaked in a layer of mystery that we have yet to fully unravel. What makes this civilization remarkable is not only its architecture and art, but its knowledge that seemed far ahead of its time. The Maya developed a complex hieroglyphic writing system, and advanced mathematics that introduced the concept of zero at a very early stage, and, most impressively, an astonishingly accurate understanding of astronomy. They tracked the Sun, Moon, Venus, and other planets with a precision that continues to astonish modern scientists. At the heart of this mystery lies their calendar system. Beyond the Hab, a 365-day solar calendar, and the Tzolk'in, a 260-day ritual calendar, the Maya created a masterpiece, the long count, a system that measures time in cycles spanning thousands of years. With it, they not only recorded agricultural seasons and religious ceremonies, but also mapped a cosmic timeline stretching across millennia. But how could a civilization without telescopes or advanced metal tools design such a complex calendar? Was it the fruit of patient observation accumulated over generations, or did they somehow tap into a source of knowledge beyond this earth? For American audiences, the Maya are more than a lost civilization. They are a familiar cultural symbol. From films like Apocalypto to the media frenzy over the Mayan apocalypse of 2012, the Maya have long been associated with mystery, ancient wisdom, and controversial prophecies. The Pyramid of Chichen Itza, where the sun creates the illusion of a shadow serpent slithering down its steps during the equinox, or the carved stele recording planetary cycles, continue to raise the same question. Were the Maya simply masters of mathematics and astronomy, or were they keepers of cosmic knowledge? And that is why we begin this journey. For to understand the long count calendar, we must first recognize this. The Maya did not merely observe time, they transformed it into a legend, destined to endure alongside humanity itself. Among the intellectual legacies of the Maya, none has provoked more curiosity and debate than the long count calendar. Unlike the Hab, a 365-day solar calendar, or the Tzolk'in, a 260-day ritual calendar, used for agriculture and ceremonies, the long count was designed to track time across thousands of years, like a map of time spanning the cosmos itself. The Maya measured time in units of Baktun, about 394 years, combined with smaller units such as Katun, Tun, Winal, and Keen. This system allowed them to record the exact dates of historical events, astronomical phenomena, and even mythic origins. The starting point of the long count is calculated as August 11th, 3114 BCE in the Gregorian calendar, the day the Maya believed the present world was created. What is astonishing is that the long count was not a closed system, but cyclical. After a span of 13 Baktuns, roughly 5,125 years, the cycle ends and begins anew. This is why December 21st, 2012 captured the world's attention. It marked the close of a major cycle. To many, it was a prophecy of apocalypse. To scholars, it was simply a cosmic solstice, the turning of the great wheel of time into a new rhythm. But why did the Maya need a calendar so vast it encompassed millennia? Some scholars argue it was the result of persistent astronomical observation across generations. The Maya tracked the motions of the Sun, Venus, solar eclipses, and lunar eclipses with a precision that continues to astonish modern astronomy. Yet for proponents of the ancient aliens theory, the long count was more than a reflection of natural cycles. It was a kind of cosmic message passed down to humanity. For American audiences, especially after the 2012 phenomenon, the long count became more than a tool for measuring time.
Doomsday.
It became a global
2012.
cultural symbol. It reminded us that history is not a straight line, but a spiral of rise and decline. And every cycle's end is not a final period, but a doorway to a new beginning. In this sense, the long count is not merely an ancient calendar. It is a mirror of how humanity perceives its own existence within the vastness of the universe. By the late 2000s, the world, especially American audiences, was swept up in a cultural frenzy unlike anything before. Doomsday, December 21st, 2012. Millions believed the Mayan calendar had foretold the end of the Earth, that on this date, humanity would face an inevitable cosmic catastrophe. The origin of this belief lay in the long count calendar. The Maya measured time in cycles of 13 baktuns, each lasting about 5,125 years. December 21st, 2012 marked the close of one great cycle. From this, many interpreted it as the end of the world. Media outlets, best-selling books, and Hollywood quickly turned the idea into a global phenomenon. Roland Emmerich's film 2012, with its images of tsunamis swallowing New York and the Earth splitting apart, etched itself into the minds of millions of Americans, cementing the belief that the prophecy was real. Scholars, however, emphasized that the Maya never predicted an apocalypse.
The world's oldest calendar.
For them, December 21st, 2012 was simply the end of one baktun and the beginning of the next.
We interrupt this program to bring
Much
you
like turning the
breaking
page
news.
of a calendar on January 1st, the Maya were merely flipping to the next chapter in the book of time. Interestingly, even when the day passed without global disaster, it left a lasting imprint. Many sighed in relief, but others took it as a symbolic warning. Every civilization has an end, and humanity is no exception. For American audiences, the 2012 phenomenon reflected a familiar cultural fascination, the allure of apocalypse. From Cold War fears of nuclear annihilation to today's anxieties over climate change and artificial intelligence, the end of the world has always been a way for society to express its deepest fears about the future. Thus, when the Maya pointed to a cosmic milestone, it struck directly at that psyche, turning December 21st, 2012 into one of the most famous, destined dates in modern history. In the end, though it was not the end of the world, December 21st, 2012 proved one enduring truth. Humanity is forever driven to interpret the cycles of time, even when we fear the answers. In the history of humanity, few civilizations without telescopes or modern clocks ever reached the astronomical precision of the Maya. Hidden deep in the Central American jungles, they observed the heavens with the naked eye, yet their results continue to astonish modern science. The Maya tracked the cycles of the Sun, Moon, Venus, and other planets with accuracy far beyond that of most contemporary cultures. They calculated the length of the solar year with an error margin of only 0.002% compared to today's astronomical measurements. They could even predict solar and lunar eclipses, an ability that required careful observation across many generations. One of the clearest proofs of their mastery is El Caracol, the stone observatory at Chichen Itza. With windows and corridors precisely aligned, El Caracol allowed Maya astronomers to chart the key positions of Venus, a planet they revered as a symbol of power and war. In fact, research suggests that Maya warfare was sometimes timed according to Venus's appearance in the sky. Even more impressive was their ability to record and systematize data.
Revealing truths
The Maya preserved
unknown.
their observations in the Dresden Codex, one of the few surviving manuscripts after the Spanish conquest destroyed thousands of others. Within it, they charted the cycles of Venus and the Moon with remarkable precision, and even predicted eclipses centuries in advance. Yet the great question remains: how could an ancient civilization achieve such accuracy? Mainstream scholars attribute it to centuries of patient observation combined with exceptional mathematical skills. But for supporters of the ancient aliens theory, the gap between primitive tools and advanced knowledge suggests another possibility, that the Maya were taught by a source beyond Earth. Whether explained by science or by mystery, Maya astronomy stands as proof that even without technology, humanity has always looked to the skies to find its place in the cosmos. And it is this spirit, this enduring quest to seek meaning in the stars, that may be the greatest legacy the Maya left to the modern world. In Maya mythology, one detail recurs again and again. Their most important gods always come from the sky. Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent deity of Mesoamerican legend, is often described as a messenger from the heavens, bringing knowledge of mathematics, agriculture, and astronomy. This has led many scholars and ancient aliens enthusiasts to ask, did the Maya develop their advanced knowledge independently, or did they truly receive a message from the stars? Maya stone carvings and murals make this theory all the more alluring. Some carvings have been interpreted as depictions of astronauts in cockpits or mysterious flying objects. At Palenque, the tomb of King Pakal contains the famous sarcophagus lid, whose intricate imagery many claim resembles a spaceship. While archaeologists insist it represents the king's symbolic journey to the underworld, believers in the ancient aliens theory see it as evidence of interstellar contact. The fascination does not end with imagery. The long count calendar itself, with its cycles spanning thousands of years, has been interpreted by some as a kind of cosmic message. More than a tool for agriculture, it seems to embody an ambition to record the very heartbeat of the universe, as though the Maya were synchronizing with some galactic clock. Of course, mainstream science strongly rejects such claims. Scholars emphasize that Maya achievements were the result of patient observation and the accumulation of knowledge over generations, without any need for extraterrestrial teachers. What some interpret as depictions of spacecraft or technology are, in the archaeological view, stylized representations of religious or astronomical ideas. Yet for the public, especially in the United States, the idea of a message from the stars remains irresistibly compelling. It speaks to a collective imagination. If ancient people truly came into contact with knowledge from beyond Earth, then human history may not be solely a story of self-evolution, but also a mysterious dialogue between Earth and the cosmos. Perhaps the truth lies only in the starlight the Maya observed so patiently for centuries. But until we fully decipher the messages carved in stone and the turning cycles of the long count, the question lingers still. Did the Maya truly hear whispers from the stars? If believers in the ancient aliens theory see the long count calendar as a message from the stars, mainstream scholars offer a different perspective, simpler yet no less profound. The Maya were not predicting the apocalypse. They were recording the cyclical rhythm of nature and the cosmos. For the Maya, time was not a straight, endless line, but a circle repeating itself. Each Baktun cycle was only one beat in an infinite cosmic symphony. When one cycle closed, another began, not an absolute end, but a rebirth. That is why December 21st, 2012, in their eyes, was not the end of the world, but rather a cosmic change of season. This worldview reflected the Maya's meticulous observation of nature. They saw the sun rise and set. Rainy seasons followed dry ones, the moon wax and wane. To them, the universe itself moved by the same principle: birth, growth, decline, and death. This cycle became a philosophy of life that shaped their religion, politics, and society. Placed within the flow of history, the Maya perspective rings true. From ancient Greece to mighty Rome, from mysterious Egypt to the Maya themselves, every civilization has risen in glory and then fallen into decline. The Maya were no exception. Once rulers of the Central American jungles, they too collapsed under the weight of war, drought, and environmental change. The cycle of splendor and ruin was not only something they observed, but a fate they themselves endured. For American audiences, this message carries particular weight. We live in an age of dazzling technological civilization, yet we also face environmental crises, political instability, and the perils of artificial intelligence.
Cycle of creation.
Are we too following the path of the Maya, rising only to fall, caught in the same repeating cycle of history?
Of the stars.
Perhaps the Maya's lesson is one of humility before the wheel of nature. They remind us that no empire is eternal, and today's prosperity does not guarantee tomorrow's survival. By recognizing the cyclical patterns of nature and history, humanity can choose to repeat the mistakes of the past or to break the cycle and carve a more sustainable future. Few archaeological topics have ever leapt beyond the realm of scholarship to become a global phenomenon, quite like the so-called Mayan 2012 prophecy. From the late 20th century onward, as scholars began discussing December 21st, 2012, as the end of a cycle in the long count calendar, media and popular culture quickly transformed it into one of the most sensational stories of modern times. In the United States, where film and mass media shaped the collective imagination, the 2012 craze truly exploded. Bookstores overflowed with apocalyptic titles predicting global disaster. From the eruption of the Yellowstone supervolcano to asteroid impacts and even alien invasions. Merely invoking the Maya was enough to send a chill down the spine, a sense that an ancient civilization had somehow foreseen Earth's destiny. The frenzy reached its peak with Roland Emmerich's blockbuster film 2012. With sweeping scenes of New York swallowed by tsunamis, Los Angeles cracking apart, and the Earth itself shuddering as though ready to split in two, the film not only dominated the box office, but also cemented in the minds of millions of Americans the belief that Doomsday was imminent. The imagery proved so powerful that even though December 21st, 2012 passed without incident, it remains etched in cultural memory as a near-missed day of destiny. Beyond cinema, the internet amplified the obsession. Thousands of videos, articles, and conspiracy theories spread online, casting the Maya as ancient witnesses to apocalyptic scenarios.
The Mayan apocalypse.
Spiritual groups in the U.S. even staged rituals to welcome a cosmic transition, as though reenacting ceremonies from thousands of years ago. And yet, though the prophecy never came true, the allure of 2012 has endured. It reflected not only a fascination with the Maya, but also a mirror of modern anxieties: climate change, environmental collapse, technology spiraling out of control. For American audiences, the event demonstrated one truth: that sometimes ancient myths become powerful tools for expressing the fears of our own age. Thus, the Maya are no longer confined to archaeology textbooks. They have become a symbol in popular culture, forever linked with visions of apocalypse, rebirth, and the boundless imagination of humankind. After the 2012 frenzy, many assumed that the story of the Maya had been reduced to little more than a pop culture curiosity. Yet archaeology has continued to produce new discoveries, making this civilization more captivating than ever. One of the most prominent artifacts is Tortuguero Monument 6, a carved stone slab found in Tabasco, Mexico. It contains an inscription referencing a date corresponding to December 21st, 2012, in the long count calendar. While the media spun it as a prophecy of the apocalypse, scholars explained that it was nothing more than a note about the transition of a Baktun cycle. Nothing more, nothing less. Still, the fact that a single small carving could spark a global cultural earthquake shows the enduring magnetism of the Maya. Another focal point of debate remains the tomb of King Pakal at Palenque. Archaeologists insist that the carvings on the sarcophagus lid are religious symbols, depicting Pakal on the world tree in his journey to the afterlife. Yet to ancient aliens believers, the imagery still resembles an astronaut in a cockpit, supposed proof of a message from the stars. The real breakthroughs in Maya studies in recent years, however, have come from LiDAR, light detection, and ranging technology. By scanning with aerial
lost
lasers
city,
through dense
hidden
jungle
for
canopy,
centuries, now
scientists have
revealed by
uncovered
the incredible
thousands
power
of
of
previously
LiDAR
hidden Maya
technology.
structures, highways, canals, pyramids, and vast cities never before known. These findings prove that the Maya civilization was far more complex than once imagined, complete with advanced urban systems and infrastructure. Meanwhile, further deciphering of the Dresden Codex and newly unearthed inscriptions has revealed that the Maya were not simply skilled astronomers. They built entire systems of calendrics and ritual life around cosmic cycles.
The precision of
Today,
these ancient
scholars
astronomical
conclude that
records
the
is
Maya
truly
were not
remarkable.
predicting
Indeed.
apocalypse.
The
They were
convergence with
striving to
modern
align
data is
human
astounding.
existence with the rhythm of the universe. For American audiences, these new archaeological discoveries provide a more balanced perspective, separating scientific fact from the cultural hysteria of 2012. Yet they also provoke a haunting question. If the small fraction of Maya texts and monuments that survived already astonish us, how much knowledge vanished with their decline? Perhaps the greatest secret of the Maya does not lie in what we have decoded, but in the vast gaps still waiting to be filled. When we look back at the history of the Maya, we do not see only a brilliant civilization with architectural marvels and astronomical knowledge far ahead of its time. We also see a mirror reflecting humanity today. The Maya once reached extraordinary heights, controlling vast urban centers, sustaining complex agricultural systems, and developing sophisticated scientific knowledge. Yet within just a few centuries, they declined, leaving behind abandoned temples swallowed by the jungle. The causes of the Maya collapse remain debated, but most scholars agree that a combination of environmental change, internal warfare, and population pressure played a central role. Prolonged droughts led to food shortages, while rival city-states clashed over dwindling resources. In the end, a society that had once been highly advanced fell victim to forces it could not control. The message for us, especially for American audiences, living in a nation that leads in technology, yet faces environmental crises and political divisions, is unmistakably clear. No civilization is invincible. The challenges the Maya once faced, drought, resource scarcity, and power struggles, are reappearing in new forms in the 21st century. In an era of global climate change, dependence on technology, and geopolitical instability, the Maya stand as a vivid warning that prosperity can be fragile. The long count calendar, with its great cycles, seems to remind us that all flourishing eventually reaches its end, unless humanity learns to live in balance with nature and with itself. But the Maya also leave us hope. They prove that even thousands of years ago, human beings could achieve extraordinary scientific and cultural feats through observation, patience, and faith in the cosmos. Their legacy is not only a cautionary tale of collapse, but also an inspiration for modern humanity to seek a path toward greater longevity and sustainability. Ultimately, what the Maya gave the world is not the fear of 2012 or apocalyptic prophecies, but a reminder that time never stops. We can choose to follow them into the spiral of decline or to write a new cycle, one that secures a future of resilience and renewal. As our journey into the world of the Maya draws to a close, we are left with one final question. Was the long count calendar truly a message from the stars, or simply a profound description of nature's eternal cycles? For believers in the ancient aliens theory, the long count is proof that the Maya had access to knowledge beyond Earth. To them, it is difficult to explain how a civilization without telescopes could so precisely predict solar and lunar eclipses or chart planetary cycles. They point to the carvings at Palenque, the imagery of the feathered serpent god Quetzalcoatl, and the Maya's deep preoccupation with the sky as evidence that this was a civilization instructed by cosmic messengers. Archaeologists and scientists, however, insist that the answer lies firmly on the ground. The Maya were masters of patience. Across centuries, they observed, recorded, compared, and refined, creating an astronomical and calendrical system so accurate it still inspires awe. In this view, the long count is not an extraterrestrial message, but the legacy of human intellect working in harmony with the rhythms of nature. Whichever interpretation one chooses, audiences in the United States and indeed across the world remain captivated by a shared truth. The long count is more than a way to measure time. It is a reflection of how humanity understands existence itself. For the Maya, everything moved in cycles, from the rising and setting of the sun to the rise and fall of civilizations. Within this philosophy, nothing is eternal, and every end of the world is only the beginning of another cycle. Seen from today's perspective, this message is both a warning and a hope. A warning that no civilization, including our own, can escape decline if it fails to live in balance with nature. Yet also a hope that endings are not final, but gateways to new beginnings in the endless spiral of the cosmos. Perhaps this is the true secret the Maya left behind. A message across time, reminding us that whether in the past, present, or future, we are all but a single note in the great symphony of the universe. And the question, message from the stars or cycle of nature, may ultimately be two ways of saying the same thing: the eternal bond between humanity and the sky.